Get more ways to play on every sport. Baseball, golf, and Canadian football are still in full swing because it's the summertime, baby. So get involved. The action always starts at Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook. Bet on the game before it starts, live and play, or use one of the many prop bets that we always talk about on the show. Doing it right since 97. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. It's 18 plus. Please play responsibly. What's interesting, we when we got here, Shane Wright, people were still like, oh, it's Montreal, it's Shane Wright. Jeff Molson's pulling for Shane Wright. He's worried about the headlines if you go with Slafkovsky, that sort of thing. And by the way, if I'm Jeff Molson, I've just hired this new management group. I kind of want to let them do their thing, right? Like get out of their kitchen. But Slafkovsky does go number one. And we sort of got the sense, just being in the city, talking to people around the game, and more of them were switching. They would have said Wright a week ago, and they were saying now, no, we pretty sure it's Slafkovsky.
I think it was, I want to say Corey Pronman was the first one on this. Like about a week ago.
McKenzie too.
Yeah.
When McKenzie came out, it like exploded.
But yes, McKenzie said Slafkovsky first. He was first on that. But Pronman, I'm pretty sure nailed the top 4.
Yeah.
Pronman's list, when you go back, is the most accurate.
Yes, it is. He's amazing.
Picks have been incredible. And like what you're saying, Adam, is kind of when we got here and we were talking to people within the industry, you kind of figured out that the top 5 had their guys and they weren't really wavering off of it. Well, especially the top 3. Like Arizona always wanted Cooley. New Jersey always wanted a defenseman, so it was going to be Juraj or Nemec, and then just ended up being Nemec. So Shane Wright was going to fall if Montreal didn't want him, and then we heard Montreal didn't want him.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And you know what? I got to talk to a bunch of the prospects last night, and one of them was Shane Wright, and he was super positive. Like I think he knew probably and had some time to prepare.
You got to talk to somebody back in the truck.
Why?
We don't need lower corner of the screen Shane Wright cam when he's not getting picked.
Yeah, holy smoke.
That's every draft, though. That is every draft.
You know what? I think you have to do that. You do have to do that shot. I know they're kids, but you have to do the shot. It's the entertainment value.
Hey, here's Logan Cooley going third and Shane Wright in the bottom corner looking sad.
You got to do it.
It's happened to everyone, man.
So you talked to him, what he said?
Cam Fowler was a bad one. Like he was supposed to go third.
I don't remember that.
He was supposed to go third. He went 12th. And they just kept showing him, and he's like, "Okay."
Remember the McDavid thing where he could have gone to Edmonton or Toronto, and he went to Edmonton.
Oh, that was the draft lottery,
and then he just death stared the draft lottery balls. Like I know we all pleasantly like to forget that happened, but that really happened.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time has passed, but no, like that was a thing. And the way the early first round, like the first 4 or 5 picks, broke down, I kept saying Shane Wright should go first because it reminds me of McKinnon versus Seth Jones. I think I got it wrong. It was more like 2011 because that draft, first overall was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, second overall was Gabriel Landeskog, third was Jonathan Huberdeau, and fourth was Adam Larson. I think at one point, all of those guys were ranked number 1 by someone or other.
I used to take Adam Larson in all my fantasy drafts in Chal because he had an A+ potential.
Dude, 4th overall pick, man.
Yeah.
And 5th, Ryan Strome.
The difference with that, though, is Shane Wright has been the number 1 pick since he was 15.
Yeah.
When he was an exceptional status player, And in this case, this kind of flip-flopped around and nobody really knew. But in Shane Wright's case, up until 2 weeks ago, for 3 years, that was his spot.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if it's a shame.
It's not a shame.
I like
it's odd.
It's odd. Yeah.
But it's, we picked the most exciting draft to go to in years. And I think Juraj Slafkovsky, you saw him go before and he was on the red carpet and we were watching a little bit of TSN, a little bit of Sportsnet and doing their coverage. And they were talking about or they interviewed Slafkovsky and I think TSN had him on the red carpet. The person said, like, how do you feel about tonight? And he's like, I'm going to be the best person. In 20 years when we're all retired, I'm going to be the best person that came out of this draft.
He's real seek and destroy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love the confidence.
And so we didn't end up getting him for an interview for the stream, and we were bummed about that. He walked by us about 1,000 times. and then we didn't see him for like an hour and a half, something like that. And then when the stream finally wrapped, we did a 3.5 hour stream. We didn't even make it to the end of the first round. I was going to change, and I see Juraj Slafkovsky still doing stuff.
Wow.
So that guy was getting dragged around for basically 4 hours.
And he has a great smile.
He's just
Perfect teeth.
so jacked. His buddy got drafted to the same team.
That's pretty cool too. So
Footage does exist of his reaction. I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
someone
the big
got
hug.
it. Sorry,
The big hug.
like no, not the big hug. I know what you're talking about. Where
Okay.
who's the guy? who
The
had
Montreal's other pick
Bashar?
was Nassar. Yeah, Philip Nassar.
So no, there's someone. I think it's the Montreal Canadiens themselves. I imagine they'll release it on social. Has the footage of the moment Slafkovsky realized his teammate or his childhood friend got drafted to the Habs, and supposedly, like he was in the middle of doing a bunch of stuff, and he was like, "I want to go see him," and they're like, "You can't. You gotta wait a bit." Yeah, he was really amped about it.
Well, I think it's going to be fascinating, to see some of the headlines today. I had a look at the Gazette and a few other places. People seem to be warmer to this than I think Slafkovsky. With people seem to be warmer within the Montreal Canadiens organization and without. Fans seem to be okay with it. I know there was some trepidation within the organization about how is this going to play. We'd pick a non-Canadian at the top, right? And Shane Wright's been that guy, like you said, Jesse. Everybody's been talking about him for 3 years. And it looks like it's going to be all right. Now, I want to talk about the drama of Shane Wright falling. And I say Shane Wright falling, I mean, he's still 4th overall, like whatever. It doesn't matter. The only time that really matters is the day of. And then today, as Shane Wright and Slafkovsky and Cooley and Nemec and Juracek, they all wake up. Now the real work begins. Now you got to play in the NHL. We were talking on the stream, and Jesse and I both picked Slafkovsky. And then we sort of kind of got into the thing, okay, well, what if New Jersey really wants a defenseman? And we thought we had heard through the grapevine that New Jersey really wanted a defenseman. Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, so if he falls past New Jersey and Arizona's done the majority of their scouting on Logan Cooley and they're comfortable with him, then they might go Cooley.
Steve, Adam isn't telling you the whole truth. At that second pick, we knew New Jersey wanted a defenseman, and Adam was blinded by his home podcast bias.
It's true.
He said they were going to go with David Juracek.
Yeah, I called Juracek.
Because he's an Alan Walsh client, and I knew they'd pick Nemec.
So
nerd.
So, but I did call a slide.
You did
call it a slide.
Yeah.
And so when Arizona picked Cooley, that's when that's when our podcast hit its peak. It was our live stream. We were just like, what? It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Seattle's
which was an hour into the draft.
Yes,
they got to the 4th pick.
Was it a little slow for you?
No, it went by incredibly fast and then incredibly slow.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't make it to the end of the first round, and the producers gave us permission to wrap early. And I knew it was time to wrap because we were high energy the whole time. And then I noticed the Blackhawks picked 25th, and I just didn't react. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I think when
I ran out of energy. I just didn't have it anymore.
When Detroit picked Marco
Casper.
Yeah, Marco Casper.
He was at the bar last night.
Was he at the bar?
He was wearing
the
his
whole bar
jersey.
applauded.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a bold move to wear the jersey.
You know what? I respect it. I respect it. Draft weekend.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. It's cool. I think it's it's really exciting. Obviously, that Shane Wright fall was one of the more entertaining things. But here's what I think. And
also, Adam, give us a little bit more credit. Marco Casper went 8th.
He went 8th.
We were a little more hyped. We faded around like 22.
Yeah, we were really fading them. Especially if the Leafs made to their trade. But I want to say this. I think the Shane Wright Redemption Revenge Tour is going to be very interesting. Every time he plays the Canadiens, every time he plays New Jersey, and every time he plays Arizona, you know that Shane Wright's going to bring his game for the rest of his career.
Well, it's interesting because, who is Seattle's rival? I would say they don't really have one.
Maybe the Canucks eventually.
They will be, but they're not.
Right.
They're not. And so before they had even played their first game, I was like, oh, it's interesting. There's already this sort of built-in rivalry with the Habs because of the whole Carey Price saga.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the bluff and Jake Allen and all that. But now when they play each other twice a year, it's going to be appointment viewing.
Yeah.
Slafkovsky versus Shane Wright. Listen, Matthews versus Laine. It was
good for a bit.
Well, the reason it was exhausting is because it was stressful. And the reason it was stressful is because there was a lot at stake. And listen, round 1 between Matthews and Laine kicked his ass.
Yeah.
He got a hat trick in the OT winner in a game where the Jets erased a 4-0 lead. He kicked his ass, right? And so the next game against the Jets held that much more value.
Right.
So the first game between Seattle and Montreal, I don't even know if it matters who wins. Like, I think it matters who gets more points.
Yeah,
between Slafkovsky and Shane Wright.
It was all. Sorry, go ahead.
It's
Jess.
good for Seattle because maybe they can finally become relevant this way.
Yeah,
like
honestly.
they've been in such an NHL hole where nothing is kind of going on with them in terms of storylines because they've just been middling bad. And then now we finally have something, and we can talk about Seattle because they have Shane Wright. And like I think Montreal made the right pick. You know, in the end, like we can never really know until a couple years from now when all the projections are out. But like,
according to the fans,
I don't fault Montreal for not going with Wright.
No, the fans know they made the right pick.
Fans know
because I got to tell you. So the one reservation I had is I was like, okay, we're in Montreal. They have the first pick, and the Habs are probably not going to pick the guy who most fans think they're going to pick. So how are they going to react to that? Because if you have the first overall pick in your city, you want the reaction to be nothing but tumult.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be tumultuous. And there was maybe a split second, but they were all like, they lost it.
Tell everybody about what you saw on the draft floor. Somebody threw, and you showed me the picture.
Yeah. So I obtained a photo. Some dick.
Did they buy a jersey?
They got a freshly made Shane Wright
Dummy.
51 Habs jersey.
Dummy.
And because the Habs didn't get him, they threw it. So I don't know where they threw it. I don't think it was thrown onto the draft floor. Again, we got to do a little bit of cropping, but we can show it. Yeah.
Okay.
We can show it.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Sorry, you're a dumbass. What?
Airdrop to the laptop.
Oh, like right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny that I heard the crowd was like right into it last night, like super fun. You couldn't hear it as much on TV, but you could hear the reactions when Bettman stepped up right before the 4th pick, right before Wright gets drafted, and goes, "We have a trade." And I thought that was kind of neat because everybody was thinking like, are they going to get Shane Wright too? And that would have been the ultimate story.
That is what I thought. I thought that was going to happen, and oh my God, you're hosting the draft, and you're going to get
both of those
the guys who were supposed to go top 2.
Is there a trade where they could have managed that?
I think if you're doing that, Seattle's going, okay, then give us Nick Suzuki. You know what I mean? Like what are the Habs going to offer? It's certainly not going to be Romanoff, who ended up being traded. So Montreal then got Romanoff, dealt Romanoff, got Kirby Dach. We'll get into that, but Jesse, are you showing the photo right now?
Yeah, the Wright jersey that Steve, somebody told you or took a picture of.
Someone threw it. I don't know where they threw it. Like, I don't know if they just threw it from where they were sitting or if they threw it onto the draft floor. But they had a 51 Shane Wright Habs jersey, and they left it behind on account of it's now a collector's item.
You have to keep that.
You do well because I'm watching the red carpet yesterday, and like Shane Wright's walking down the red carpet and he's signing Habs hat, Sens hat. I think he signed like a Ducks hat, and I'm just like, okay, but what if he doesn't sign with them?
Yeah,
like, what if he doesn't play with any of those teams?
I still think
it doesn't look like he's going to.
Collector's item.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I have a buddy who, along those lines, saw Connor McDavid at a gym in Mississauga, and he's a huge hockey fan, my buddy. And the only piece of hockey memorabilia he had at the time on him was a Calgary Flames t-shirt. Or it's either a t-shirt, I think it's a t-shirt jersey. So one of those.
Jersey.
A jersey. So he had McDavid sign the Flames jersey.
And he signed it. Wow. Good
So
for
out
him.
there is a McDavid signed Calgary Flames jersey.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So Shane Wright, there's a whole bunch of Habs merchandise that Shane Wright has signed, and it's out there.